Hi, this is Steve Gladys, and we're here at the George Mason Enterprise Center. Thanks for coming back. I'm here for Steve Gladys Leadership Partners. Today we're going to talk about a book we did a number of years ago called WriteType. WriteType is about how personality types and writing styles interchange with each other. One of the things we found out long ago was that personality begins to have an impact on the way we write. I learned how to write with under a teacher by the name of Sister Miriam Acker Conception. She was one of these hard-nosed, keep it simple, keep it straight, no fluffy writing at all, no emotion in it, just keep it to the facts. And so when I wrote for her, I had a lot of trouble because I'm far more creative, and so I tried to add things to it, and she'd cut them out, and I'd add them, and she'd cut them out. We had this dynamic tension that sort of stuck with me over these years. And so when the time was appropriate, I started to take a look at what's the difference between, what does personality make in terms of difference of writing styles, and why are some people successful with certain bosses but not with other bosses vis-a-vis their writing skills. And here's what we decided to do. We decided to take a look at the Myers-Briggs type indicator, the Mbti. Many of you know about this, and a number of you have taken it, I'm sure. And what we did was we looked at specifically the two middle elements of a Myers-Briggs. Usually in Myers-Briggs you'll see things like an ESFJ or an INTP. We found that the two middle elements, called the cognitive elements, were the things that kind of make writing what it is. Because writing is really thinking on a piece of paper, which is one of the reasons I think people take it so damn personally, is that, you know, when you write something on a piece of paper, people can critique it. When they can critique it, it can affect the way you think about yourself and your writing and so forth, and your communication skills. So these two elements are the elements that we use to kind of break down writing. And we looked at the difference between sensing and intuition. Intuition, we use the N for a technical reason. Sensors are people who get information through their senses. They touch it, taste it, feel it, or smell it. They believe it's there. They're very, very down-to-earth sort of folks in terms of the way they process data. Intuitors are very big picture folks. They look at things in terms of concepts and big ideas. Thinkers tend to be more logical when they make decisions on the data. They tend to be more logical. And feelers tend to consider the values of others, the mores of what's going on, and other people's interactions and emotions in terms of the way they respond. These break down into four different areas that we're going to study in this series. Those are STs, who are sensors and thinkers. These folks tend to be technical writers. They tend to be very clear, concise kind of writers. We'll talk more about them later. SS, we call it correspondence. They do a lot of writing, and it's usually interpersonal. And largely based on other people's response. NFs are very creative sort of writers. They tend to write more flowing, more evolving sort of writing. NTs are more strategic writers. They tend to write more in strategic patterns, which we'll talk about a little bit. And what we'll do in this series, we're going to take each one of these individually in the following sequence. I'm going to try to describe each one of them for you so you know what they look like when you see them walking down the street. We're going to tell you where to find them in the organization. It's good to know where they reside, because if you ever need help from them, you can find them in these places. We're going to tell you what their writing looks like when you see it, and how to write for them if they happen to be your boss. That's the menu for WriteType. We're going to have four more of these. I hope you watched them all, and thanks for being here this morning. This is Steve Gladys at the George Mason Enterprise Center here in Fairfax, Virginia, for Steve Gladys Leadership Partners. Thank you.